So, hello, peoples, ladies, gentlemen, non binary, and in between. Welcome to With the Fluff with your host, Fluffy. And today we have a special guest by the name of Liz Hamilton. Say hi, Liz.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today? Hi, Fluff. Thank you for having me on your interview show.
You
It's good
are
to be
welcome.
here.
It's happy to have you. Now, you came highly recommended by our sponsor, Ed the Pagan.
Okay.
And, well, he told me a little bit about your background, things that I was completely unaware of. Some of it is my fault because I just haven't been as um, diligent in paying attention to the people around me. Mostly because I kind of had my head stuck in the ground doing my pagan studies. But he
That's
mentioned,
understandable.
yeah, but he mentioned that you had a podcast or a radio show for a while, and that you still do sometimes. Would you be
Uh,
willing to educate us about it?
yeah, sure. I don't know if it's going to be like an education because the majority of people who know me know that I was a host on Pagans Tonight Radio and then Sacred Divergence Radio and then oh, I can't remember all the radio shows that I've been on, my friend. It's just been a long haul, 8 years at least. On and off. I did a show on. I usually did my shows on Sundays, and let me see. There was the Young Witches. There was the Variety Show. There was Sacred Divergence Radio. And then I was a guest on a bunch of them too. So, it's one of my things. I like the radio because I'm a talker, and I
Mhm.
like it when people can listen to me talk. And if they don't want to listen to me talk anymore, they can just click away, and I don't have to stop talking. That's kind of awesome.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So it's a thing, and it's been a while, but I can't remember the last time I was on a radio show. To be honest, like a pagan radio show. It's been a while.
Okay. Well, would you be willing to give us a short story or experience that you thought was remarkable, that is entertaining, or
Pertaining
enlightening?
pertaining to the
Enlightening,
radio show.
yeah, or just,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. So it's actually like a series of events, really.
Hmm.
It was the ability to be able to do things like interview S.J. Tucker and interview Raven Caldera and all of
Hmm.
these other awesome people that are in our community and have messages that they want to share, and
Hmm.
to be able to get to know them, and like that whole 6 degrees of separation thing kind of got smaller as the days went by and as the weeks and years went by, and
Hmm.
people, I guess, are kind of surprised at how many people I know. And I'm just like, it's just kind of part of my life as a pagan. Um,
Hmm.
because, I've been Corellian for the last 16, 17, 18 years now, since I was like 15 or 16, and I'm going on 33 this year, so you do the math. I can't math anymore. No, thank you. Math is bad. Um, anyway, sorry. I make all kinds of funny faces. This is why I much prefer radio, because I
I
can sit here and make funny faces and people don't see it. It's kind of like, it's one of my weird things. Anyway. But yeah, like one of let me think here. What was my best experience? I really enjoyed interviewing S.J. Tucker a couple of times on my show, the Pagan Variety Show.
Mhm.
And she is such a sweet girl. She has such a bright and bubbly personality, and I really, honestly, I shouldn't call her a girl. She's a woman. She's older than I am, I think. Um, and she's a mom now, and her kid is like 3.5 or 4 or something like that, and it's like, oh my gosh, all this time has just blown by
it has.
in what seems the blink of an eye sometimes. um So yeah, I really enjoyed interviewing her. I enjoyed it all around, but interviews are fun.
They are. Um, for me, this is something I've always wanted to do.
Hmm.
And as you said earlier, the being online, talking to people, it gives you a reason to talk and to connect. And
Yep.
I'm finding that this is bloody awesome.
Hmm.
And as you know, I have ADD, so I could relate.
Yep.
And we on video, on a podcast, you could go all over the place, and it's all good. You go where the
Right.
conversation takes you.
Yeah.
And
In
we
general.
both know that if we write down a script, yeah, and if we write down a script for the free
Script.
form, yeah, it's not going to go well.
Well, I guess for me, it was a mixed bag because sometimes I would just go in and have nothing planned, and then it would just turn out amazingly, and then other times it would bomb because I had nothing to talk about, like literally, and then other times like I would just not script it per se, but just kind of figure out kind of where I wanted to talk and what I wanted to talk about and where I wanted to go, and that was helpful sometimes ish. It just depended, honestly. I mean, but as having ADHD, that
Mhm.
ADHD is hit or miss any day of the week
Yeah.
because we don't get to pick and choose when we're on the ball and not.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. The only thing that I have noticed that can make a difference is the type of caffeine we have and the type of meditation we attempt to do. And that could go either
Meditation
very well, that could either go very well or very badly because
or
it could
very poorly.
yeah, because it can amplify whatever mindset that we're in. And if we do the wrong
Yeah.
type of meditation, it goes down very fast. Um, but speaking of the ADD, the ADHD, that's a part of you. Is that something that at this point in your life that you are happy to have a part of you, or do you wish that you could get rid of it?
Goodness, what a deep question. Some days again, it's a mixed bag. And I don't know that wishing that it was gone is really helpful, even though sometimes I do, because I can't. It's
Hmm.
not like I can get rid of it anyways. It's just
Hmm.
something that I have to deal with.
Hmm.
It's like I don't know. It's like if I was born without my right hand or my left hand or whatever, I would just have to deal with it because it's not like I can just grow a hand or whatever. It's not like I can
Right?
just get rid of a mental illness. It is. I don't know that it's part of my core identity per se, but it does mean that I experience the world differently from many people. As a neurodivergent individual, I have ADHD, I have Asperger's syndrome, um, so it's my experience is unique,
Hmm.
and I know this is true for everyone, so it's not really that
Unique.
big of a deal,
Yeah.
but it is though because it makes it super hard for me to explain to people without going into long and drawn out stories and intricacies because in an ADHD brain, as you well know,
Hmm.
everything is important.
It is.
Every detail is significant because it adds character and flavor to whatever you're talking about. And sometimes it's really hard for people who don't have ADHD to realize that and to understand that. And there's also this thing that I've tried to get out of the habit of doing is oversharing.
That's one of my challenges.
Right. So, it's like I have to kind of figure out, like, how much am I talking? Am I letting other people talk? It's a very, it's work. Interacting with people is work. And that's where the Asperger's comes in as well, because social difficulties are common with Asperger's folks. But me being a female-bodied individual, I have learned to mask and to blend in and chameleon. So, like, for example, I'm super comfortable usually if there's Corellians in the crowd. But if it's people that I don't know, I mean, it depends on the vibe that I first pick up when I arrive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Whether I'm going to be, like, all me, or whether I'm going to choose to pick another mask and a hat to wear, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. Well, I have a minor ulterior motive behind that particular question.
Okay.
And from my experience, most magically inclined people are wired differently than baseline humans.
Mm-hmm.
The way the different parts of the brain interact are different, usually more connections, and in different parts of the brain. I have noticed that there could also be a person that has a normally functioning brain and still can be magically inclined, but that usually doesn't happen. But
Okay.
most of the folks I relate to have different learning experiences, different brain chemistries, different physiologies, and they might be on the spectrum somewhere
Mm-hmm.
along the line to various different degrees.
Yeah.
And their unique mindset facilitates the capacity for magic, for paganism, for being an energy worker, for being clairaudient, clairvoyant, whatever.
Clairsentient, basically.
Yeah. And these people are usually the caregivers of humanity, of the environment, of
Mm-hmm.
the justice seekers, of the light workers. Do you agree?
Well, I can't really speak for other people, but for myself, a lot of that rings a bell, strikes a chord. And, I think it's the ability to step outside of oneself and one's own experiences, and honestly step into other people's shoes
Mm-hmm,
and really harness the empathy that we are given.
mm-hmm.
I don't know that sometimes it's too much. So I don't know
Yes.
that I could call it a gift per se. So I'll just say that it's given to us, for good or for ill, because having empathy comes with a price.
It can, it does, and I think half the time it sucks.
Yeah. It comes with the fact that your heart is going to get broken more, or is more likely to, because you take everything personally, and
Mm-hmm,
everything is important, and every injustice needs to be rectified, and every child needs to be fed and housed and clothed. And when you dive into that and realize that you're just one person, and you don't have the resources at present to do much, if anything, about all of these injustices in the whole world,
mm-hmm.
it can be really overwhelming. It can be extremely
It can be.
overwhelming, and it can be just heartbreaking. It's very hard to deal with. And So it is not often at all that I dwell for a long period of time on these things, unless I'm with people who I know are capable of taking action towards resolving whatever injustice we are talking about.
Yeah.
And you know, I have been told that I have a super big heart, and I wear it right here on my sleeves. And you know, the other price that you have to pay is that people are going to take advantage of that, and that can be very hurtful as well, because when you give your trust to somebody, it's not in portions. It's all
It's
at
all or,
once.
it's all or
All or
nothing.
nothing. Yes, exactly. All or nothing. And when they show that they are not going to treat that with the love and respect and tenderness and care and appreciation that it deserves, then it's like I have asked myself so many times in the last 16, 17, 18 years, why, Goddess? Why did you give me this capacity?
Okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. I don't really know exactly where I was going there really quick, but you know, here we are.
Well, I'm gonna a follow-up question. In the Corellian tradition, I believe you are third degree, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Has going through the workbooks, working with the Corellians, doing the shadow work, has that helped you process through being an empath, being a justice worker, a light worker, being human, wearing your emotions on your sleeve, knowing yourself?
Immeasurably and indescribably, yes. First and foremost, I am Corellian. So it's not like I've gone through several different traditions and then just landed up here at home. This was my first tradition, and this, as far as I'm concerned, in this life will be my only tradition, because I don't really have a need to go anywhere else, because I'm home here. My family is here. And for all of the bumps and bruises along the way, and for all of the, you know, little spats that people have with each other and whatnot, we're still a big family, and we still love each other, and we have these commonalities that make us who we are as Corellians, and the traditions that we share, and the rituals that we pursue together, and the impact that we are trying to make on this reality, on our world, in our present and our past and our future, is very important to me. You know, going through the first and second and third degree took 10 years. And it was a it was a struggle. It was an uphill battle, because not only because of the ADHD, but also because of life circumstances and all of that. And you know, finding like the studies were actually my stability. They were just something that I could always come back to and know that I still had more to learn, and that I still had more to do, and that I had a goal in mind. And, you know, and now that's switched over to teaching my students and to growing my shrine. And, but those are other topics that I'm sure you want to dive into later, so I won't go off the cliff on that quite yet.
Okay. Well, that was my next question. Do you teach, and how does having a large bag full of unique learning perspectives help you teach?
How does it help me teach? Well, one of the significant differences in my learning capability or style or whatever you want to call it is that I don't have an inner eye. So, for example, it's called aphantasia, and there's different levels of aphantasia. But like when I close my eyes, you know how when in a guided meditation you're told to just imagine yourself on like an island or a beach or in a cave or something. There's none of that. Like I can
Oh,
see
wow.
like the light changes inside of my brain, and I can see like the outline of like the light of my monitor,
Yeah.
and that's it. It is blank. It is black. It is dark in my brain. I can't
Hmm.
see things. So I had to learn how to adapt and what sight could be substituted with. So, coffee cup. I'm going to put the spoon over here. It doesn't spill out, okay?
Hmm.
Coffee cup.
Yeah.
We know that colors have different vibrations.
Yes.
We know that air has a different vibration than ceramic. Ooh, darn, I spilled my coffee everywhere. Oopsie daisy. Let me drink the last of this. We know that liquid vibrates at a different frequency than a solid.
Yeah.
So I learned how to feel. What does it feel like? What is it like to hold this in my hands? How does the handle feel? How big is this cup? Does it balance well? How much liquid is in it? Can I feel it with my senses?
Hmm.
Can I feel the different colors of red and the writing in white and the inside in white and even the bottom? Like what's on the bottom? Oh, there's this text down here that's black. That's a different vibration too.
Hmm.
And so being able to feel as a substitute for inner sight really gave me the okay, and experiencing it and it working gave me that aha, okay, I've got this kind
Okay.
of unlocking of that door as to how I wasn't really understanding, because I just had to figure out the workaround, because
Hmm.
there's more than one way to do magic, right?
Yes, there
So
is.
there's more than, and I mean, blind people can do magic too, but they can't see. So what would they do? Kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Does that
Right.
make sense?
Oh, yeah. Makes perfect
Um,
sense.
and so, taking this into account, I can see if a student is struggling, and I can go, okay, here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to switch it up. You're not going to see anything. Forget sight, okay? Go with feeling. Tell me
Hmm.
what the vibration is telling you on the inside. What do you feel? Is the air moving? Is there something in front of you? How far away is it? What is the shape of it? What is its color? Is it warm? Is it cold? What material is it made out of? That kind of thing is very useful because it enables me to help people succeed where I struggled for a really long time. A really long time. So that, I guess, answers that question, more or less.
Yeah, I think you're about to make me cry. Um,
Aw.
That
I was
speaks
a
to
little
me.
bit teary-eyed there too.
Um, I to it in a way I have a hard time with that because when I started down this path, I had a hard time struggling with. I had a hard time with that, and I struggled to see and experience things. And when I do a meditation, when everyone goes to one spot and does something, on the other side, I'm over here doing other things, and I'm more I'm more likely to allow my outer edges fade, and I'll just merge into the landscape with no real concept of any visual output of what's going on, but it's more of a knowing of and interacting with the shapes that I am merged with. And I could tell you just about everything with about all the physical shapes, all the energies, um, everything except the visual.
Yep,
And it's frustrating,
it
extremely
is.
frustrating. And I spent so much time struggling to come to accept the way I'm hardwired is very different. And when I would try to walk down that path and try to do the human thing and stay in my own skin while there, it was painful. I felt
being
like there was this.
human, being human is painful.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I empathize with you in that.
yeah. And so I have a hard time relating to those types of experiences. Now, the ironic thing is, I'm a really good meditation guide, and I could set up a mental space for people to walk down, and they see and experience all sorts of things,
Hmm.
and they don't get that I'm there with them as that space, and that's complicated, and that's kind of scary for some people, and I just don't talk about it, but you get it,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
You know,
and
I've created, for example, I think it was it last year or the year before? Time doesn't exist basically most of the time.
yeah,
During the Halloween, the Samhain ritual that we did, the big one.
yeah,
Um, Alan Salmi and I came up with that meditation, and I can lead people through meditation just fine. But being led through meditation is a different story. It's work. It's harder. It's work because of how I'm wired. Much like you, we're just saying a minute ago. So yeah.
yeah. Okay, so enough about that. Time to let things get a little squirrely. Um,
Okay.
what is a squirrel golem?
So
Um,
it actually started out as kind of a joke between Alyssa and I. Lady Alyssa, she is the
mhm,
first elder, but this is when both of us were, not first, not high priesthood or anything. We were just kind of running our shrine together, our temple together. That was a long time ago. So anyway, a squirrel golem is something that I came up with to help me harness my ADHD.
mhm,
And basically, it was like this little sensorial reminder dude who would be like, hey, you have something to do right now. You're supposed to be doing it. And then I would go, oh, okay, what is it? And sometimes he would tell me, and sometimes he wouldn't. And the more and more I worked with him, the better and better things got. And then my life turned upside down in 2015, and he kind of just disappeared. And I forgot about him for a long time until Alyssa one day was like, "Hey, you remember you used to have like this sparky squirrel?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, him. maybe you should get him to help you out more. Okay, I'll try. And it's not really been successful. Sometimes, again, that comes with the whole mixed bag thing, right? Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And so we have to find different strategies and different methods of making do, because sometimes that's all we can do is make do.
Yeah.
So that's my Sparky the Squirrel was my little golem that I created, and he worked for a time, and 2013, 2012, 2014 was pretty awesome as far as using my ADHD to my advantage went.
Okay. That is delightful. The squirrel golem reminded me of an ins of an inst an incident. I hate this. I can't say the right word. A moment with a tarot client last year. She was
Okay.
easily she was easily triggered
Mm-hmm.
by anything, and she had a lot of negative associations with a lot of different things. So she would be always spiraling, and she
Yep.
asked me for help. And so I went cross-eyed and I asked Creator for an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I just imagined, for whatever reason, I just saw a blue squirrel sitting on her shoulder, a an electric blue squirrel.
Cool.
And I asked her what she thought of squirrels, and she said she thought they were delightful. And she spent a lot of time watching them. And it was one of the few things that made her happy. So I know a little bit about neural linguistic programming and
Okay.
how you could attach certain concepts to um, thoughts or other emotional triggers. So I recommended that. So we did a meditation and I attached the image of the blue squirrel to certain thought patterns for her. And so we spent about 20 minutes talking after the meditation, and I brought up every single one of those topics I attached the blue squirrel to, and she would start frowning. Then all of a sudden, her expression would change as she was thinking of the blue squirrel.
Right.
And when I was walking home, I thought about some of those issues because serendipity, the creator, makes sure that we encounter people that we could help, that we resonate with, so we could actually help
Yep.
them. And I kept on thinking of the blue squirrel. And a couple days later, I was actually watching a YouTube video of an electric blue squirrel
Hmm.
running
Cute.
around. Yeah, and I kind of freaked out. And I'm
Why?
like, am I shifting realities? Am I bringing a blue squirrel into this universe? Yeah. And I'm like, am I ADD enough to actually do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
But
know that it would take ADHD to be able to do that, but that's part and parcel with magic. Like if you use magic, yes, you are altering reality. That's
mhm,
kind of the point.
it is. And that is the point, and it was a really good lesson. And so, am I going to suddenly start seeing blue squirrels everywhere? Don't know. It would be really cool, but it also made me stop and think that a lot about what I think about winds up happening. And it brings me to my next point. When our attention is focusing on so many different things at once, do you think that the ADD, the Asperger's, all of that is utilizing your intuition to aid in the magic?
Well, it really depends on the scenario, because usually when when it comes down to magic and ritual, I am a very intuitive person,
Hmm.
and it's almost like the the deficits of ADD and Asperger's just kind of melt away, because
Hmm.
I can step into the persona, the scriptedness, the facet of myself. I can wear the hat that is me, the high priestess, and
Hmm.
it's like a light switch. It's
Got it.
like okay, on. You know, the nerves can be jangling like minutes before it's about to happen, but then when it's time to engage, it just flips on. And that comes from practice,
Hmm.
over a decade of practice, almost 2 decades of practice now. And it's not something that I was born with. It took time to learn that circle is a place of safety, and circle is a place of making magic happen and changing my reality, and circle is a place of peace and creativity and balance. And when all of those things combine together in that crucible,
Hmm.
then the magic happens. And the flow, you hit that flow state, and you're just there and you're just doing it, and then it's done, and then you're like, wow, were we really in ritual for 45 minutes just now? It felt like 10. um so yeah, that's pretty much that, I guess.
Oh,
Can't remember
okay.
exactly what the question was to begin with.
I don't think it matters. I don't remember either, but once again, you're making me cry.
Oh,
Um, I,
sorry.
I, I do know that requires a lot of discipline and time and investment and struggle, and that's something that I have a hard time developing. And I've only been at this for 3 years,
Hmm.
and I am in awe of what you're capable of doing.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Hmm.
And I want you to know that you can do great things too. Just keep at it and keep practicing and keep trying new things, and don't let people limit you, because the moment you limit yourself, the moment you put that limit on spirit and on the ancestors, that is the moment that things are lessened. And you can, if you find that you have limited yourself, you can totally like remove that limit and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that is a possibility. Let me just tear down that wall that I made for myself over here. I don't need that wall anymore. It can go away now. And it might take a bit to do that, but you can retrain your brain
Yeah.
to recognize that limitlessness, as it were.
Okay. That's very well put and very true. And I hope that actually that's helping me. I'm living with conservative Christian family right now.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. And they're the type of Christians that they know all this type of stuff exists and that there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm choosing to diverge from them. So they're all about the invalidation
Hmm.
because I choose to be different. And so that's a struggle, but I'm working on it. But I'm hoping that other people that see this, they find strength and comfort in knowing that they are not alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, feelings of loneliness can, I think, be some of the most damaging feelings out there. And, I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you have to learn to be comfortable and alone, like comfortably alone. And that is still at 32, going on 33 years of age, for me, a very difficult concept, because when I was growing up, I was never alone. I always had my brothers, my mom, my nana, my dad, my grandparents around. Even though I didn't really have a whole lot of friends at school, my mom was always doing things with me, taking me places, enrolling me in summer activities and whatnot. And so it was not, I was never really in a situation where I was just all by myself with nothing to do and nobody to hang out with or do anything with. And so yeah, the idea of being alone is kind of one that I don't enjoy thinking about. And but to on the other hand, when I get that way, when I get lonely, all I have to do is remember, oh wait, I have Facebook Messenger, I have FaceTime, I have Hangouts when we open up the Zoom room for however many of hours. Whoever wants to show up can show up, and whoever doesn't have to join. That kind of thing. So honestly, in a way, loneliness is a construct.
It's a product of our imagination.
Right.
It's a product of our imagination.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, we don't have to be that way anymore.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
We're also magically inclined. If we don't want to be alone, all we have to do is just sit down, let our mind wander, and find something that's willing to talk with us.
Yeah, that's true too. Although I don't really do that much, because hours can just fly by, and then I'll be like, oh, I spent all day in doing that. Yeah, nope. Not really a
Guilty.
But yeah, there's techniques and methodologies that you can use to give yourself like a little timer inwardly. But that's another topic for another time.
Yeah. So I am just about out of time. Is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers of With the Fluff before we head out?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to you, and this was fun. And I would enjoy another conversation like this, because this has just gone by way too fast. I can't believe it's 6 o'clock already. And there's so much more that we didn't get to talk about. Let me see. So I guess just remember that it's okay to be different, even if everybody else is also different. And you are special. You are special because you are you, and nobody else in the world is you except you. And you are enough because the goddess made you. And the goddess doesn't make mistakes. The goddess is experiencing life through us every single moment of every single day. And the experiences that you go through have purpose. Even if in our reality that's really hard to grasp, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Tie a rope if you get to the end of it, and hang on tight. Sunshine is coming. Rainy days don't last forever. Darkness doesn't last forever. Yeah, let's do this again. That was fun.
Okay. Well, Liz.
Ground, my friend, ground.
I'm holding
I
a
can
rock.
tell that you're ground. I can feel that you're about to cry. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I knew this was going to happen, and I had a very potent reading earlier in the week, on the weekend, where I am supposed to allow myself to flow into a space where I'm more vulnerable. Shields down, let myself get beat up, and allow healing energies to flow in. So that's what I'm focusing on. And you vibrate in a way that I find to be delightful, to be very healing and therapeutic. So I knew that this was going to happen. And I am just grateful that you are who you are and that I had asked to speak with you for this because this is exactly what I need to hear right now. So thank you.
That's great. You're very welcome. Absolutely. And as far
Yeah.
as shields going down, please don't put your shields down for me. Okay? Don't let yourself get beat up. Letting yourself get beat up is, I would say, needless. Because, and if you don't know, I can teach you how to put filters on your shields to let the good in and be a brick wall to basically everything else. So that
Okay.
your heart doesn't get hurt. Because when you put your shields down and you let everything attack you in the world and you let everything, flow over you, and that can be overwhelming. We have shields for a reason, my friend.
Yeah.
And they are very necessary. So
Yeah.
please let's make a class of it maybe on how to put some coffee filters on our shields.
I think that would be a delightful idea.
Okay. Then we will do that.
That's deal. So
Okay.
I open up a Zoom room after what the Fluff airs on Friday nights
Okay.
usually. So anyone, and there's supposed to be login information for the Zoom room attached, so that anyone that sees this is welcome to come in and say hi, learn about the Corellians,
Sure.
and hopefully more Corellians will be there. This is something that we've been doing for weekly for actually exactly a year now, because we started
that's
last
cool.
year. We started last year during the Memorial Weekend Psychic Fair, and the following Friday, we just opened up a Zoom room, and we Corellians got together and we made it public, and we called it Casual Corellian Fridays, and I just slowly took it over. So
Cool.
still doing it. It's formally a thing, and I hope that others get to come on and say hi so we can meet you. We could hear any of your questions and answer everything we can. And if we can't answer a question, we know people who can.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I am going to log off, and I hope I get to see you in the Zoom room.
Sure. I
Namaste.
will do my best to make it. Blessed be.
Okay.